kids! I know you are pumped to take some notes, get your learning on, all of those wonderful things. So make sure you have your notes out. Obviously, there's none of you here, so this video is going to be pretty quick. If you need to pause while I speed through this, if you need to rewind, whatever, watch as many times as you like. I know you miss my voice so much. So do whatever you need to do. Like I said, pause, rewind it. Just get the notes down, and it will help you with your practice of V. All right, so we're finishing up that circles and arcs and area of sectors. And so arc length, we got is kind of like the outside, kind of like our circumference, but it's only like a portion of our circumference, okay? So arc length is this little part of our circle right there, just that outside part. So there's no like area to it or anything. It's just a part of the circumference. Remember, circumference is kind of like the perimeter of a circle. We have this formula, arc length. We use this fancy script L to describe arc length. So arc length formula, you take x, which is the degree measure of the arc. So like it says here, this is our x, and times it by circumference, which is c, and divide that by 360. Remember our circumference formulas. Circumference depends on what you have. If you have a radius, 2 pi r. Other circumference formula, if you have your diameter, pi times d. Make sure you have a calculator so that you can do these little problemos. We're going to leave answers in terms of pi though, so literally what we're doing in these three examples is just throwing it into this formula right there. So to find arc length, xy, do you like how dark I made these? Isn't that nice of me? So you know what I was talking about? Xy, so the first thing you need to find is your degree. So this arc is made up by this angle right here, which is marked with the square, which means it is 90 degrees, times it by our circumference. Well, this 16 is my diameter, so I'm going to use this formula, pi times d. So our circumference formula is pi times that 16, because that's our diameter, and then formula says to divide by 360. So this 90 over 360 part tells you how much of the circle to take. So how much of the circumference do you take to figure out the arc length? So 90 over 360 is 1/4, times that by 16 pi. Again, it says leave answers in terms of pi. So this is just 4 pi inches. Again, it's kind of like a perimeter, so we don't want to square it. That'll be area, which we will do later on. All right, next one. Again, 18, so we have our diameter. So we're going to use this formula again. That's got the pi times d. To figure out what degree measure I'm talking about, obviously, like I said, I made these so nice and dark. That's the arc I'm talking about. Well, I know that this arc here is 60. I know this whole thing is a semicircle, which is 180. So to figure out that dark arc, we're going to take 180 minus that 60. Gives me 120 degrees for that arc. From there, you're just throwing into that formula. X is that degree measure, so take the 120 times by our circumference. Again, we have our diameter, so we're going to use this pi times d, and divide it by 360. 120 over 360 is 1/3, so a third of 18 gets me 6 pi label feet. And last one, we got this whole XPY deal. That's 240 degrees. This time I have a radius of 15, so I'm using this circumference formula. So I got 240 times my circumference is pi times the radius, which is 15, divided by 360. Throw that all into a calculator. 30 times 240 divided by 360. You get 20 pi centimeters. If you're lost, confused, pause, rewind. etc., etc. Listen to it all again just for funsies. All right, we got sector as well. A sector is a section of a circle bounded by a central angle. Remember, central angles come from the center and intersect an arc. That's what this is, an intercepted arc. So a sector is like a slice of pizza. Bonus points if you're eating pizza while you're watching this. Not actually. Although, maybe you should comment in the video what your favorite kind of pizza is. I like some pepperoni, some Hawaiian. Ooh, don't judge. Okay, so to find the area of a sector, just like with our arc length, it was kind of like a part of the perimeter, the circumference. The area of a sector is like we're going to take a portion of the area of the whole circle. So same sort of thing, x is going to be the degree measure. And remember our whole area of a circle? Let's write this. Area of a circle is pi r squared. So we're just figuring out what portion of that pi r squared to take. So to figure out our area, taking x times that pi r squared and dividing it by 360. So again, this x over 360 part is telling us how much of the entire circle to take. Or if you're like me, you know, like a whole pizza is like one slice. But anyway. Alright, so we're finding the area of our sector. Leave your answers in terms of pi. Thank goodness, that means we don't have to multiply it out. Alright, so the first thing I got is my degree measure for this arc is 72 times our area formula, pi r squared. In this case, my radius is 15 squared. That's not times 2, that's squared, kids. And then divide that by 360. Throw in your calculator, 15 squared times 72. Don't multiply by the pi though, so we're leaving it in terms of pi. And then divide by 360 gives me 45 pi centimeters squared. Again, we're talking about area, so we gotta square our units. Okay. Again, notice this whole part is what's shaded, so everything but the 40 degrees. So I don't want to use 40 as my degree measure. I want to use literally everything else. I know circles got 360 degrees in them, so I want everything but the 40. Leaves me with 320 degrees. So all this, all the way around, is 320 degrees. So that's what I'm going to use in my little formula. 320 times pi, remember area, pi times r. Well, notice this 16 is talking about that whole line. So that's not my radius, that's my diameter. So to figure out how much it is from here to here, that'd be half of 16, so my radius is 8. Area says take pi r squared, and then the rest of the formula says divide by 360. Again, all you're doing is throwing that in a calculator, 8 squared times 320 divided by 360. You won't get a nice number, so I'm going to simplify this fraction. That little fraction is 8/9. Then we got pi times 64. So if you take the 64 times 8, or again, if you have one of those fancy calculators that just gives you fractions right away, you're one of the lucky ones. 512/9 pi centimeters squared. If you gave the decimal version, I forget the decimal version is, I didn't write it down. That's fine too. That is probably the more proper one, 512/9, but proper doesn't mean perfection. I hope you enjoyed.